Across the United States, 6 different classes of wheat are bred for end-use characteristics, grown sustainably, tested for quality, and transported safely to people all over the world. But that is only half of the story. Behind this impressive supply chain that produces a safe, consistent product, there are people. People that bring passion and purpose, intangible investments that go into every step of the field-to-export journey. So while the process makes it the world's most reliable wheat, the people make it whole. 97% of U.S. wheat is grown on family farms. Farms that have been passed down from one generation to the next. These generations pass down values like hard work and responsibility. The values needed to succeed when you put your life into your work.
Farming to me is a way of life. It is being outside in nature. The beauty of it just really resonates with my soul. So it's quite rewarding to be able to take care of the land and then also have it as your occupation. It's quite satisfying to the soul, honestly.
This year we raised enough grain to rate on this one farm, just one little podunk family operation to make 10 million loaves of bread. I can't imagine not doing this. You know, it's kind of like I say, you were born and bred to do it.
When my kids were small, they drove truck, and Mark's girls drove truck, and now Aaron is back with us. So it's really nice to have that connection.
We are a family farm. We care. We've been here a couple generations, I hope a couple more, to take care of the land, make that food, make it affordable, accessible, nutritious for everybody around the world.
My son is going to be the 5th generation, and my grandsons are going to be our 6th generation, so I'm looking forward to be able to have them to have a legacy to live on.
We know it's not always going to be easy, but it's that passion and love for the ground and planting that seed and knowing that you're going to produce a crop and food for people in the United States or people overseas. It's that great feeling to know that you're part of being able to feed people.
I am very proud of what I do. I feel like I raise as good a crop as I possibly can every year. Usually don't look back with too many regrets about something I should have done different. I feel like what we do out here is very good. You know, we raise some of the best quality wheat in the world, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
I guess part of the rewarding process that we have with the operation is knowing that the things that we have changed, the things that we do different day in, day out, little things, big things, doesn't matter. They're all changing the way we produce food for the world. Seeing those little things make an improvement in the quality or make an improvement in the bottom line either way. If I make a higher quality wheat, maybe someone gets a better quality food in the end. It doesn't matter what thing I improve, something down the line is going to be affected by that. And it's nice to know that it's worldwide. It's everything from the top to the bottom. We're feeding the world, and we're doing it as efficiently as possible.
That's the thing about farming is it's never boring. You're doing something different every single day, and every day is a new day, and every day is a challenge. And some days you can't wait to get them over with, and some days you look at the sun setting over the Highwood Mountains, and it's just like we are so fortunate. We are so lucky to be able to do what we do.
We're just regular, ordinary people. We have children, we laugh, we cry. But we're farmers, we're agricultural producers, and we take great pride in producing a product in order to feed North Dakota, the United States, and also the world.
Our researchers and breeders work tirelessly to develop wheat varieties that meet the highest of standards, to meet our customers' end-use needs, and to help our farm families thrive.
The journey of wheat to food tables around the world really begins in facilities like this in a breeding program where we're starting the process of making the varieties that farmers are going to go that's going to feed into that supply chain and ultimately end up in the food product. There are facilities like this around the country where people are working to improve varieties for those different regions where there are different production constraints, but they're also working on different market classes, and those market classes have different functionalities. We have about 6 different market classes, and they're grown somewhat different by different geographies, but those really make the opportunity to be able to make almost any kind of wheat food product. In wheat right now, we don't have GMOs. What we're really doing is we're taking the opportunity with the natural genes that we already have to put those together in a package that is the healthiest and the best for the environment that we possibly can. In wheat, I think there is a purity. I do think that we're reaching back into genetics that are historic, and in some of the projects we're reaching back into wild relatives and bringing some of those characteristics, but even in the wheats that we have, there's just this natural quality to it. We're bringing healthy, nutritious food to the table, and I think that that's a passion that we have to bring that forward.
After years of testing and perfecting the seed, it is finally ready for farmers' fields. Preparing for planting looks different for every family farm, depending on the region, the soil, the wheat class. Wheat breeding has created varieties that meet different needs, but there are more opportunities that can improve the end quality of the wheat before the seed even goes into the ground.
So now we're to the point of planting. The breeder's done his job, and we've got a good variety to plant.
Starting in the spring, we start making fallow. The purpose of this is to catch the rainfall for a year and give the soil a chance to regenerate, let everything that's there decompose to try to improve the soil health. Then in the fall, end of September to the first part of October, we start seeding. And when we seed, we'll put down our seed and our fertilizer in one pass. We'll band the seed and the fertilizer together, one right underneath of the other one. So that way, as soon as that seed starts to grow, it puts roots down, finds the fertilizer, and just takes off.
We're watching the weather every day to see what type of rains may be in the forecast so that we're not planting maybe right in front of that rain. That may mean that we don't get the best stand of wheat. Or you may get into that planting window that, hey, we've got a nice 10-day stretch of weather, so we're doing everything we can to get that wheat in the ground. We'll start as early as we can in the morning, which planting wheat, at least you can start early in the morning, and we'll go late into night, and then we may go home at night and we're loading seed wheat for the next day or things like that, just to get it into the ground. But when you're planting, it's more that you go back and you see that wheat just up, and you can roll it down that row, and you're like, hey, we've got a good stand here. This is starting out good. It's that feeling of, we've got it up now.
I would say as a farmer and a wheat grower specifically, there's certainly a responsibility and a weight that you feel to not only provide a high quality product, but enough of it to feed the world. And that's why we're real selective in our varieties and make sure it has the right fertilizer and nutrients to grow and perform well. We want to have the bragging rights that, hey, we've got the best wheat in the world, buy from us.
Even with a good stand, crucial mid-season factors must be monitored and decisions made to ensure efforts are not wasted.
From seeding to maturity is not a time that we just walk away from the fields. There's management decisions and risks and potential problems that have to be checked every day, and decisions made leading up to the final cut.
The wheat has just become to a really important milestone. It's finished the vegetative growth, and it's gone into reproductive phases now. It's flowering just right now, forming the kernels that will be harvested in about a month and a half from now. We're going to be monitoring the disease, make sure we're controlling that. Specifically, we are watching for a fungal disease on the flag leaf. The flag leaf is the top leaf of the plant, so it's really important that we have good, healthy, intact tissue on that top leaf, the flag leaf. We need to come in and protect that flag leaf and stop the disease progression so we can maintain yield potential. It's also going to add test weight and quality to our grain. It's going to be one of the last steps that we will need to take to monitor this crop between now and seeing it to the finish line. Members of my community, both locally, members of my family, will be consuming this crop, as well as families around the United States and families across the globe. And when I make a decision to use a particular product, whether it be to fertilize the crop, to give it the fertility, the nutrition that it needs to grow and produce nutritious grain and good grain quality, or use a fungicide to protect the tissue from a fungal disease that's coming in and infecting it, I always weigh those trade-offs with the end in mind and in a responsible way that consumers can be confident we've done our due diligence at making those responsible decisions and weighing the trade-offs and utilizing products on our farm.
Stunning fields of gold mark the culmination of a farmer's time raising wheat. Harvest is a season that brings joy, but also demands a determination to do whatever it takes to bring home the crop at its peak.
Harvest is payday. It's, we've put all the hard work into it and we're cutting it, we're putting it in the bins, it's going to the elevator, and that's how we get paid. A lot of people think payday's this great day and you go on vacation, but payday for us is hard. It's stressful, tempers get short, days get long, and it's hard.
Harvest represents the fruition of everything that we've worked for the last year or 6 or 9 months. You get to capitalize and collect those things that you hope you were doing right to make high quality, high yield, lots of product to bring back to sell. It starts off early mornings getting equipment ready to go, and you got to get things greased up, fueled up so that you can run a nice long day and hopefully no breakdowns. You try to do as much early maintenance as you can, preventative maintenance, so that we can keep the machines running. We'd like to do more with less, so we run one combine to do a lot of acres, and we run a grain cart with that combine all the time, so that combine never has to stop to unload. It can just be harvesting at all times throughout the day. We tend to run long hours through the night if we can, if moisture stays correct, so that we can gather everything before another rain gets to it.
Sometimes it might be midnight, sometimes it might be 2 o'clock in the morning when I get a call. Are you in bed yet? No, yes, I am, but I'll get up and I'll come over and take care of whatever you need. So that's we kind of fly by the seat of our pants sometimes, but that's what you have to do when there's so many things going on the farm, and we do have a lot of things going on the farm all the time.
So it's just an emotional roller coaster, and it's day by day, honestly, what is happening with the crop. And farming is risky. People don't realize that farmers gamble every single day, and being able to manage that and control what you can and make the best of what you can't is something that farmers just really have to keep in their mind all the time. This is hard. There's a lot easier ways to make a buck in this world, but this is what we decided to do, and we're going to dig our heels in and make the very best of it.
And a lot of people think that once harvest is over, that's where it ends, and that's when the hard work of farming begins, and you got to market it and make sure that you actually made money so you can do it again next year, and that's where the hard part is.
We don't just look at it as a job that we need to get done. It's our life. It's what we drive to do. It's more than just a job that can be completed. It's what makes us proud as a family. It's what we love to do, and so it's really rewarding to see, especially my kids now, how much they enjoy it too. I think they see how it matters to me, and I hope they remember that.
As wheat is transported from the farm to grain companies by truck, river, or rail, it is tested and sorted to meet customer specifications every step of the way.
What What we do is everything will go into the bin or to the flat houses or into ground pile paved storage. We're loading barges. Everything is transported down to the Portland export houses, and they're cleaning it to the specs that their customers are buying. And then eventually it'll load on a ship, go overseas, discharge, and then either be trucked or railed or barged to their destination flour mills.
The way we think about it and the way we talk about it is we have this concept of heritage. You know, all these families that we serve, these elevators that they've delivered to, that their grandparents delivered to, and evolution. And so we're standing in a place now that is, a symbol of that evolution. We're getting an unload from a farmer, take a sample at that pit, and then re-elevate it, put it on a rail car to bring it here. It gets graded when it leaves, whatever location it is. It gets graded again when it's here. We're sorting to make sure that we're meeting a specification for our customer, and ultimately our customers overseas, in large part. 90+% of what we do, it gets exported. We're responsible for it in a little window of time. Like we'd mentioned before, it's not ours, it's just our turn. We're all stewards of this platform. It's why we do what we do, and that stewardship comes with a greater purpose. Our whole network is really driven on the export market, and so what we listen to, what we talk about internally and in a group setting, or when we go overseas, or when we have customers come here, is we're asking, what is it that we can do for you?
Rigorous inspection and management continue at export houses, where high standards create consistency and trust that overseas customers depend on.
So we basically source directly from the farmers. We source from cooperatives, from other suppliers. We manage the supply chain. We manage the inventory. We're loaded on ocean-going vessels, and we ship that product overseas to our overseas clients, anywhere from Far East Asia, Southeast Asia, and South America and the Middle East. We basically utilize the Federal Grain Inspection Services and other private third-party grain inspectors in order to be able to provide a quality inspection, a standardization for that product at the farm gate, but also the export gate as well, because we operate under the U.S. Grain Standard Act, and that's basically the act that mandates that every kernel of grain that's exported out of the United States is actually federally inspected and weighed. So it's a critical function that the Federal Grain Inspection provide in order to meet our contractual obligation overseas and create that global standardization, which truly, I think, exemplifies the value of U.S. wheat and other grain products from the rest of the world. And we're trying to create something different that our competition necessarily cannot do as well as we can, in order to be able to create that value, in order to create that reliability, and it's all done through relationships. We couldn't do it without the people, whether it's in this organization, whether it's U.S. Wheat Associates. Really, it's that quality of those individuals that really create that, again, the unrivaled value to our end user customers.
Each person's commitment to their step of this journey is what makes U.S. Wheat unmatched in both quality and reliability. Farmers especially feel a responsibility to preserve this legacy, to act as stewards of the land, and promote new generations of sustainable practices. These individual actions contribute to the whole in a big way, a future with better quality wheat and better land management, leading to better food products for people across the world.
A lot of the processes that we do to grow crops can be hard on the soil if they're not done correctly. So we do a lot of things to prevent erosion, whether that be in cover crops or crop rotations. We do a lot of things to preserve nutrients in that ground. We do no tillage to try to keep the ground stable on top so we don't have the runoff of soil particles as well as nutrients. We need those nutrients to preserve this ground for hopefully another 5 generations to farm here as well. But we want to maintain all the soil that was here so that we can continue to grow a crop here for years to come.
We go that extra step to take care of the ground because we're excited when it produces better. It's kind of a family heritage thing. This is what my grandparents did. They passed it down to my father, and now it's going to be passed down to me, and I want to pass it down to my kids. And I want that ground to be a high quality piece of ground that they can use.
Our desire is for that ground to still be able to grow that crop for our children, grandchildren, hopefully 50, 100 years from now. So that's what we're looking for, is to be able to still have productive ground. So we want that income to be there for our children, our grandchildren. So we've got to take care of this ground and grow it and produce good crops.
We're taking care of our land, and so we are still personally invested in this, and we want to see success. And so we are looking at it that we want to perpetuate this farm for our children, and then also have the land prosper for the future.
I'm the third generation, and I think that's really special to go beyond and leave something for the next generation. And I think that it's my responsibility to do it sustainably and in a way that will be able to provide for my kids or grandkids or whoever's kids down the line. And I take a lot of pride in the fact that someone else started it and that they trust me and believe in me to take it over. There's a lot of pride, I think, that you can take in that.